So we're going to build something that looks and works functionally uh, like this tribute page we have right here. The information is sort of centered. Uh, we have a nice little footer. Um, the headers are highlighted with a nice background. It's really pretty simple. There's not that much actual code going into this. It's not actually going to take a long time. I do want to show you real quick. We'll run the test. It passed 10 out of 10 of the test for the free Code Camp responsive web tribute project deal. I'll tell you what we're going to do is we're just going to go right into the project here, and we're going to eliminate all the codes in here. We're going to take it all out and bring it to scratch, and we're going to go up here in the Hotmail, or let's eliminate, let's eliminate that. Now let's insert the most common, just click this insert the most common viewport meta tag for now. And in the JavaScript, we're also going to eliminate that. So we're starting from scratch. We just have a free CodeCamp responsive web tribute uh, project. And that's what we're going to build. We right now have a blank page. Okay, so let's go over to the Responsive Web Designs projects. Build a tribute page on the Free CodeCamp website. That's at freecodecamp.com. Um, and we're at the Build a Tribute page. Uh, if you go to the curriculum and you go through all of the web design, responsive web design certification challenges, all these different sections uh, should be completed. Mine are all completed. Then we're going to work on these web design projects. So we're going to start with build a tribute page, okay? And the objective here is to build a CodePen IO app that is functionally similar to this. Let's take a look at what they have. Dr. Norman Borlaug, the man who saved 1 billion lives. Okay, so we just have a header up here, a little tagline, an image, caption on the image, and then we have a timeline of Dr. Borlaug's life. We have a quote here, and then if you have time, you should read more about this incredible human being on his Wikipedia entry, and that is amounts to a link. We also have a test engine over here where we can run the test to see, and you can see that this page passes 10 for 10. So we're not going to focus on that page though. We're going to work off of the user stories and build a page from scratch. So the user story number one is, well, let's go back. Let's read this up here. Fulfill the below user stories and get all of the tests to pass. Give it your own personal style. You can use Hotmail, JavaScript, and CSS to complete this project. Plain CSS is recommended because that is what the lessons have covered so far, and you should get some practice with plain CSS. You can use Bootstrap or Sass if you choose. Additional technologies, just for example, jQuery, React, Angular, or Vue, are not recommended for this project, and using them is at your own risk. Other projects will give you a chance to work with different technology stacks like React. We will accept and try to fix all issue reports that use the suggested technology stack for this project. Excuse me. Happy coding. All right, so user story number one. My tribute page should have an element with a corresponding ID main, which contains all other elements. So we want a container, okay? So we want a container. We want a div class equals container with an ID of main, and we want this to contain everything. Okay, so that's what we have first. Now what let's do, let's put an H1 right here, and we'll give it an ID of title, and we're going to do this particular tribute project to George Washington, who is one of the founding fathers and is one of my personal heroes. So that's neither here nor there, and it's certainly not meant to be political or controversial in any way. So he's just a guy in history that I admire. So moving on from that, we're going to put the title, his name, George Washington, in H1. And then let's come over here to the CSS. Now I know I'm going to want a body, so let's just put a body tag in there. We won't use it right now. Actually, now's the perfect time to use it. Let's set text align in the body to center, and that will just set all of the text in the entire body of the document to center. Okay, so let's do that for starters. Now we have this page with George Washington in the center. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go back to this responsive web design page at Free Code Camp, and if you scroll down after user story number 9, you can see it says you can build your project by forking this code pin, which we could have forked this pin, but we're going to build from scratch. So what we want is this CDN link. Okay, so copy this link right here, copy this link, and take it to your code pin page, and click this little gear on your JavaScript up here. This little gear, give it a click, and let's say down here, in one of these boxes, where we can, or you can add another resource if you have something, but just go ahead and copy and paste your link into one of these boxes right here, save and close it. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to have the test suite engine, the testing for the Free Code Camp. So set it up so that it runs the tribute page and run the test. And as you can see, just putting the container and the title header in, and adding this, so we've got 3 out of 10 of the things done. Like, look at that, 3 out of 10 of the things are done already. All right, so tell you what, let's do. Let's go back. Well, let's save this first. Now, let's go back and let's go up now. User story number 2 is I should see an element with a corresponding ID title, which contains a string that describes the subject of the page, e.g., so that's our George Washington right here. So let's, I think that's a little small. I want to set an H1 element in the CSS, and I just want to make the font size like 65 pixels. Yeah, that's better. All right, so let's do that, and let's set the background color of the body to light gray. Okay. Now we need an image. Okay. Now we need an image. So you're going to need an image host. I like to use tinypic.com when I'm working with CodePen. There are others you can use. You can use your own website, whatever you prefer. but you need your images hosted someplace on the web where you can grab a link and link that into your CodePen. So if you do not have a place to do that, tinypic.com, you can sign up for free. Once you sign up, go into your stuff, and then right here where it says choose a file is where you can upload files. All right, so you're also going to need Google Images. Now, what I like to do is search royalty-free images. So we'll go royalty-free images. We'll go royalty-free George Washington. And it's going to bring up a bunch of images that are royalty-free or somewhat royalty-free. Um, um, so you have to be careful. They're not all royalty-free, but a lot of historical photos and documents tend to be in the public domain. Stuff about the founding fathers and things like that are most certainly going to be in the public domain. So you want to find the image that you want, and you want to go ahead and save that image. You're going to have to link this. Well, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to name this Georgie 1, okay? And it's a JPEG image, so I'm just saving on my desktop. So you're going to have to save your image to your computer, and then you want to go over to your TinyPic and go to your stuff page and open up your Explorer and find your image. So we're going to go with this image. I actually used the last one this time, but I like this image a little better. So we're going to upload that. When we get that image, we're going to have a direct link for layouts all the way at the bottom where it says grab your code, and just grab your code there and bring it over to your project at Free Code Camp Responsive Web Tribute on CodePen. All right. Now, you're going to want, let's see, let's go. User story number 3 is I should see a div element with a corresponding ID image div. So they're telling you that they want you to create a subcontainer for your image. So we're going to go div ID, div ID, image div, I think that's right, image div, and then now that's where we want to place our image. Okay, now if you're not familiar with placing images, you can open Google and search W3 Schools, type Hotmail images, and click the very first, the top one up here at the top. And if you scroll down, right here there are examples how you can put your image into your web page. So like really, like, this is no brainer. If you don't know how to do this, this is image source. Just copy and paste this right here. Now this is not best practice, but this is really simple. If you don't know how to do this, this is highly doable. You know, um, you want an image, your image tag, just like your div tag, you need an image tag, and then you declare properties. Now, the properties are your source, okay? So go back to where you uploaded your file and get your direct link for layouts, and that's your source. Right there, you can paste that right in there. And then for your alt text, you obviously want to fix your alt text, and we'll just say that that is George Washington. Okay, perfect. Alright, now, also, let's go back. Now we have user story number 4. Within the image div element, I should see an image element with a corresponding ID image. Okay, so let's go back in here, and where you have source, your image, you also want to add another property, an ID property of image. Okay, now, once we've done that, we're going to run the test, and you can see now we have 6 out of 10 of the things done for our tribute page. Alright, so now what I want to do here is I want to add an image tag into the CSS, and we want to border style solid, and we want to border width 1 pixel, and we want a border color to be black. No, I should border. Okay, now another thing that I want to do, just to make the image responsive, is I want to let's make the border. Okay, so this is not border width, this is border size, and we want to make this 2 pixels. Okay. Now, you can't really tell, but we have a nice little black border around there. So another thing we're going to do here, we want to make this image responsive. So we're going to go with display block. And we're going to, how about height auto, and margin auto. And let's give it a max width. Max width of 100%. Alright, so let's save that. And now we have this. Now, we need, we have 6 out of 10. Let's see what else we need to do. We need a user story number 5. Within the image div element, I should see an element with a corresponding ID image caption that contains textual content describing the image shown in the image div. Alright, so let's go into the image div and let's make an H3 and we'll call it ID. We'll give it a property of ID and we'll call it image caption. And we'll say, what did I say in the other one? George Washington. No, that's not what I said. Let me take a look here. Okay. George Washington was a hero of the Republic. Hero of the Republic. Our first president and one of our let me see. Okay, founding fathers of the United States. All right, this is our H3. Now this can be anything that you want according to whatever project it is that you're building. But this is my tribute and it's to George Washington. All right, so that is our caption. Now we need image caption. Let's go back and see image dash caption, user story number 5. So let's save our CodePen, run the test, and we are now 8 of 10. Okay, so now we have a title, a header, we have a nice image, we have a caption for the image. We don't have any material. For George Washington, what I did was I simply Googled George Washington's timeline, um, and I grabbed like the first thing that came up, which was Washington Papers, GW Papers, Virginia EDU, History, the Biography of George Washington. And I simply copy and pasted his timeline into an H2 tag. So this is what I did. You can write your own. You can write your own. You can best practice probably would be more using bullet points, etc. Um, I chose George Washington. Any of your heroes, you're going to be able to find a timeline, but I just thought we're going to shortcut a little bit and do it this way, so I don't have to type up a whole bunch of stuff. This is from an education website, so the information contained in this is open source, so no copyright infringement, etc. We need an ID. We need an ID property for H2. Let's see what it says. Tribute info. Alright, so tribute info. So we need an ID property of tribute dash info. Okay. Now we need closing tag. Now we have some meat in our page here. It's all centered. Let's do this. In between all of these lovely dates here, let's set some breaks. We'll make a line break and a break. And make a line break and break. And we can just basically copy this and paste it here, 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 and in between all of these dates in the timeline, basically. And we'll save that, and now let's take a look. Okay, so now everything is broke up nicely. We have this plain sort of page. We've run the test, and we're running 9 out of 10 of the tests are passing successfully. So let's go back and see which one we have that is not passing successfully. User story number 7. I should see an element with a corresponding ID tribute link, which links to an outside site that contains additional information about the subject of the tribute page. Hint. You must give your target an attribute of target and set it to blank. Okay, so what we want, we definitely need target equals blank. Let's come back over here and let's make a footer. We'll say, how about a footer? Then we'll make an ID, a property of ID, we'll just call it footer. And then we'll also say target equals, no, we don't need target equals blank. What we need is footer. Okay, and then we'll go down here and we'll make a closing tag for the footer. Then inside of the footer, let's make, let's call it an H2. Let's make it an H2. Yeah, let's make it an H2. And we'll call it, we'll give it a property, an ID property, and it needs to be called tribute-link. So we'll give it a tribute-link, okay? And then we'll say, if you want to learn more about George Washington, you can read more about him at, okay, and now, if you don't know how to make a link clickable, so that's what we do. So search W3 schools, Hotmail, clickable link. Okay, and then you'll get Hotmail links. The very top one is what you want. Okay, and this right here, just grab this code, ahref was equals the URL. Bring it over here, put it in your deal here, and right here where you left off, paste that in there. Okay, now you need a link to your wherever your tribute page is going to link to. Mine is going to link to the George Washington timeline at Washington Papers, at the biography of George Washington at gwpapers.virginia.edu. So basically what you want to do is right here where this URL is, you want to paste your link right in there, and that's going to link you, and then you want to link your text, and you want to, this is going to be Washington Papers. Okay. And if we scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see if you want to learn more about George Washington, you can read more about him at Washington Papers. We need a right here. Right here we need a space. Okay. Now, everything is looking pretty good. Let's run the test. We've got 9 out of 10. Let's see what we don't have working here. Target equals blank. Copy that. Target equals blank. So what we need is right here where we have the A. Let's give a little space there, and we'll paste in target equals blank. We need that in there. And let's save that. And now let's run the test. 9 out of 10. So okay, so now we can see what is not happening here. You should see an A element with tribute.link. Okay, so we did this, but I didn't do this exactly right. All right, so this is what needs to happen is where I have this ID tribute.link, it needs to be in the A element and not in the H2. Okay, so actually, let's see, let's copy that. Let's cut that from there, tribute.link, and we'll put it right here in the A element, tribute.link, ID, tribute.link. Okay, so now that should pass all the tests. Now see, we're green. We've got all the tests are passing. All right, so now all the tests are passing. So everything's working. We've used minimal CSS. We've sort of put together a page really quick. It doesn't look like much. Okay, so let's look at the full page view and see what we have. Is it responsive? Let's take a look. That's not what I needed there. Let's go back to the code pen. Is it responsive? It looks to be responsive. Is it? It does seem to be responsive. So, all right. So now let's do some stuff. Um, let's do a little bit more design wise, okay, than what we have right here. So what let's do, let's open this up. What I like to do is I like to style the background, do like the headers and things like that. So let's just do a couple of little design things that are going to make this look a little nicer. So first thing I want to do is go to Google.images, and you want to search for some background texture. So you want, like, I always look for royalty free. I do that a lot. A lot of stuff is listed on Google as royalty free, so if you just search, you can find that stuff, and it can save you a lot of time. So I just search royalty free parchment, and see, I get parchment texture comes up. So let's just grab that. Okay, and I looked around, and so we'll find a parchment texture that we like. Something like this, maybe. Yeah, okay. So let's grab this one. This is vectors, parchment vectors free pick. So I'm gonna say that this is old paper finish aged background texture. Okay, so um, this is probably royalty free. Something like this would be hard to make a big deal about. But anyway, it's right here in royalty free. We're gonna save image as, and we're just gonna call it parchment. I have a parchment 1, we're going to go parchment 2, we're going to save that as parchment 2. Now, the other thing you need is you need something with contrast, something that's going to work in contrast with your look. I really like this right here, this bamboo sort of look. I really like this. So we're going to grab this. save image as, and we're going to call this head image. Okay, and I'm just saving these on my desktop. Um, so wherever you need to save them, it's easy for you to retrieve them. Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go back to your TinyPic, and you're going to want to upload your images to TinyPic. So we have this old Parchment textures. Let's see, Parchment 2 is the one that I have for this one. So we're going to upload this, and then we're going to grab the direct link for layout. We'll copy that, and we'll come back over to our CodePen. Okay. Now let's go back into the editor view in our CodePen. Now we're going to want to go into the CSS. Now instead of using a background color, we're going to go now with a background image. Okay, and then CSS, you need to specify the URL, or let me see, you need to specify, I think, the URL, and put that in there like that. And that layers our parchment onto the back. So now we have the parchment on the back. Let's see. The next thing we want to do is in our H1, we want set a border style solid, border size 1 pixel. Okay. Alright, and then we want a background image in here as well. No, I haven't set this one up yet, but we need to go back into our TinyPic and upload our contrast picture, which is the second image that we chose for our contrast for our headers, and gets a direct link for, oh no, gets a direct link for layout. So copy this, and then come back into our CodePen, and we want to put the image there. Now, if you decide you don't like that, you can manipulate those around in your photo editor however you want. I like to sometimes, if they're too dark, change the opacity and things like that. So this one is actually a little different than the one I did before, but the basic setup, everything is all the same. The styling, really, you can, I mean, there's really a lot of stuff you can do. Okay, so like, let's clean up our styling here, and format this a little better. Let's give some margins for our text down here. Let's see. Let's give some margins. So let's go with let's create a body title. Let's we have let's see. Did I? Okay. So okay, so we want to create some margins for tribute info. Okay, so we have the tribute info section is the section with all of the data here. So let's create a tribute info tag in CSS, and let's give it some margins, and let's say that 3%. Okay, and then we want 15%, and then we want 2% and 15%. Okay, and what that's going to do is that is going to give us some basic margins. And then let's go with a footer tag. Okay. Now what let's do is take this background image. Let's take background image, border size, and border style, and copy those out of the H1 and put them in the footer. Paste that. So now we have this in the footer. Okay. And I want right here before tribute info. Let's make this an H3. This needs to be an H3. So let's make the data where the data is an H3 instead of an H2. Okay, so now it's an H3. And above that, we need an H2. And it's going to be, we'll give it an ID property of tribute title. Okay, and it's going to be George Washington timeline. And that's our H2. Alright, so now what we want is we want to go back up here where we have our H1, and let's make an H2. And we're just basically going to put everything except for the font size. Copy in the H2. Paste that. Okay, but now we want the H2. We need the font size, but we don't want it to be. We want the font size. No, actually, we do. We want the font size to be 65. Let's see. Font size. Let's go 55 pixels and see what that looks like. All right, so that's actually good. So that's good. Okay, so but that's no good. So let's change this from H2 to use the class that we assign to it is I don't remember. Tribute title. Okay, and that's basically the bulk of it. I mean, really, like you can do whatever you want beyond that point. Anything you want. You know, but that's more than enough. It's more than enough. It's passing green. Um, And that's really all you need to do for your tribute. And really, like, that's more than enough. So, um, next time we'll do build a survey form. So, I'll try to make another video like this in a couple of days about build a survey form, and we'll see where to go from there. So if you guys like this video, hit me a like and a subscribe and a reshare, share, whatever. If it helps you out, leave a comment. If you have any advice or whatever you think, just hit me up wherever you can. I'm going to link all the stuff that I used in the description, so you'll be able to link to all that stuff easy. All right, so until next time, peace, folks.